Oh, as I mentioned this morning, it's always an exciting time to be a Toastmasters. The 2020 will mark the end of the traditional manual program that led to the Distinguished Toastmaster, and everybody will be moving over to Pathways. And I've been on the Toastmasters website and the District 35 website, and you can look up the conversion rate over to Pathways. But I know I've been following Pathways since its infancy, and I still have a lot of questions. So today we're going to have an update, and I encourage all of you to participate in this. Teresa Flynn, who's been Toastmaster for about 6 years, will lead us on a Pathways update. So Teresa.
Thank you, Jillian. So we will be offering question and answer, so please use the microphones if you're asking a follow-up question or if you suddenly remember you were going to ask a question. Also, at the very end, I will have my email up on the screen, so it'll be available for you to ask me a question individually. I reached out to a few senior Toastmasters who are in multiple clubs just to get the ball rolling and find out what different clubs are finding most challenging about Pathways. And a lot of the questions were really, really similar. Wait a minute. I haven't wished you a Happy New Year yet. Happy 2020, people! Woo! Yes! Happy New Year! And the magic number is 178. We have 178 days left to finish up those old paper manuals. Get them done. Because Pathways is for everybody. And as you finish up your paper manuals ahead 178 days from now, lunge into Pathways. What I'd like to do is, people didn't all get a break just now, so I want everybody to stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Here we go. Okay, I like Ed's whole stretching thing. That's awesome. Good, good. Wake up. Because this is going to have some participation involved. I need your brains fired up. Here we go. First up, anybody with a Pathways DTM, sit down. I think we have one Pathways DTM in our district. She's actually visiting Chicago today. Anybody who has completed an entire path, sit down. Woo. Anybody who has completed level 4, sit down. A couple. Good. Anybody who has completed level 3, sit down. We have a lot of standing people, and that's good, that's fine. That means we have a lot of room for new cool things to do and a lot of challenges. Because if we all knew what we were doing, we wouldn't be here, would we? I'd be sleeping. Do I have any base camp managers in the room? Awesome. Okay, everybody sit down, because we all know that we've got a lot of opportunity to change what our clubs are about, what our educational experience is about, and how we're doing this. So when I talked to some people, a lot of people still had concerns about the very early stages of Pathways. And that's understandable. It's Pathways, it's new. It's still new. It's been here for 2 years, but obviously we are still rolling it in. However, I do want to touch base about some of those advanced projects that many of us haven't gotten to yet. So to start out, when you have new person enter your club, either a guest or a brand new member, one problem that I've seen in my club is people talk a little bit about, oh, we used to have manuals, but now we do this. And that's understandable because there's still manuals out there. But as we transition to all pathways all the time, let's focus on the awesomeness of pathways. The first level is really straightforward. You have the 4 speeches and the 1 evaluation. The second level has the 3 speeches. So for the first 2 levels, things are fairly straightforward for everybody. And it's up to us bringing in those new people, helping our existing club members get used to pathways, that we have a little bit more being comfortable with what pathways is all about. One way we can find a little bit of ease in sharing the information about pathways is knowing a little bit more about the different projects. Level 1, project 1 is the icebreaker. That sounds so familiar. That sounds like something we've been doing since forever. It's like a comfy house coat. It's the icebreaker. It tells people a little bit about you, and it gives a good baseline of your speaking abilities. The icebreaker. We love the icebreaker. Project 2 has 2 speeches. Yes. You do the first speech, you receive that evaluation, you do the second speech, and then you do an evaluation. So there's multiple parts to it. And as people go through their pathways material, they're hitting that right arrow, they're hitting that right arrow, they're hitting that right arrow, and all of a sudden, did I just submit a level? Wait, no, that's not good. It's okay, take a deep breath. That's what we're all here for, each other. As we look at the different opportunities, instead of reading absolutely everything, word for word, because, okay, in high school and college, when the instructor told you, hey, you've got this 200-page book that you have to read by the end of the quarter, how many of you sat right down and read that 200-page book? Okay, Jason. That's why we love him. You'll notice I didn't raise my hand, and most of us didn't. Sitting down and studying something that you're not 100% familiar with isn't always how people learn. In Toastmasters, we learn through experience. We learn by doing. We also learn when there's somebody awesome sitting by you, holding your hand and helping you. Does that mean that everything we always do has to have a mentor sitting next to us? Not all the time. Eventually you'll get used to hitting that right arrow or converting to a PDF and saving it on your phone so you can read the material at your leisure. However, what we don't even realize is how much we depended on that institutional history of learning what we do and sharing that knowledge just because that's how it is. We've had the CC and the CL, and we were able to walk people through it really naturally because other people told us about it, and we already experienced it. So for the people who have completed a level 4 or a level 5 or a level 3, you've been through the ringer a little bit, and you might be a really good resource for the newest members. However, it means that that resource might have to actually sit with people. One thing we don't think about is how Pathways kind of nudges us into doing some of those best practices. I'm actually channeling Adolph. This is what they do. They hit each other, and it's these light little wings, they're so pretty and dainty, but they're whapping each other. And that's what Pathways does. It whaps us into doing good practices, like new member orientation. How many clubs do new member orientation? A couple. How many clubs have a mentoring system in place? A couple more. Good. So you've got a good, solid foundation for making those changes to segue from the traditional system into Pathways. What works really well is doing your new member orientation in a place with Wi-Fi. Now, I'm not recommending anybody just randomly invite people over to their home because you've got Wi-Fi, you've got a couch, everything's cool. No. Coffee shops. Starbucks always has Wi-Fi. I work downtown. Fresh Time is a grocery store with a little cafe. We do our new member orientation there. Fresh Time, yeah. A little kombucha, little Pathways. One other option is for corporate clubs. If you have corporate campus-wide Wi-Fi, you can do your new member orientation anywhere. Sit down with your new member and talk with them. This is the best practice, and now we really need it. Because you can't just throw this generic book at people, and we love that generic book, don't get me wrong, but we don't have a generic book anymore. We need to hear, what are your goals? What do you want to do? Why did you join Toastmasters? And sometimes it's even important, what don't you want to do? Because there were only a couple people who really wanted to be the world champion of public speaking. I get that. Like, contests are a way that we develop new skills, and trying it occasionally is awesome. But there are some people out there who are never going to try a contest. And as people think about their goals, before they even sit down with Pathways, encourage them to think about, what are your professional goals? Do you want to manage others? Do you want to work in small groups? Do you want to be a speaker helping other people develop? What do you want? And as you help your new member figure out what their goals are, it helps them figure out how they're going to answer some of those questions as they choose their path. Now, another way to choose your path, this is kind of back doorway, is this is the District 4 Pathways page, d4tm.org/pathways. And it's kind of beautiful. It's elegant, it's easy, it has a lot of information, and it's all linked. You can click on things. Presentation mastery. How many people are PM people? Do you remember what you are? Okay, here we go. It gets a little muddled sometimes. Presentation mastery is the least leadership. And these clicks should go, there we go. Presentation mastery. So you click into a path, and it clicks in here. You can figure out whichever path you want to look at. There's information on individual levels, what is required, and what are electives. And if somebody wants to take a look at this and give information to your new members, you know, I know Toastmasters, and they told me that their HPL was horrible. I don't want to do an HPL because they're scary, and I don't think I'll ever be able to lead ever. You know what? That's fine. Half paths do not have HPLs. Help them find a path that does not have an HPL. Yes, ma'am.
Just real quick, wasn't there a quiz when you first go into Pathways to help you find the right pathway to choose? Okay.
Yep, there is a quiz. So that's a really using that quiz. Think a little bit about what you want, and then take that quiz, and it'll give you some good recommendations. But as you're sitting with your new member, if they say, I don't know about some of these recommendations, I'm really intimidated by speaking a lot. I'd like to do more. I'd like to do more projects. I'd like to work with people more individually. There's a way to do that. Then don't go with just presentation mastery. Go with one of the more complex projects or more complex paths that actually gives you that opportunity. So this website gives you a lot of information. And it doesn't involve you logging into the Toastmasters website and then scrolling all the way to the end of a project to find out how many speeches are in that project. What should I expect this person to be doing? How should I help them schedule these speeches? As VPEs, you guys have a lot on your plate, so this shortcut might be helpful. Because there are additional projects out there that will have more than one speech. One challenge with Pathways is we have to plan ahead. We have to think ahead. We might not have to read every single word in Pathways, but a really good baseline is knowing that this project requires 2 speeches. You need to do a speech before you do the project, and then you do a speech after you do the project. Because otherwise, if you do a special event and you're trying to do that specific project and you don't do the correct speeches, maybe you'll do another special event. Hey, more experience. So, one thing that helps when you're at that initial new member experience meeting is getting people logged in, set this down, and yell. I remembered my password. I depend on caching so much. Okay. So you log in, get your new member to log in. One great opportunity for that new member is checking out the Navigator. The Navigator gives you a lot of great information about the club structure, what's in a meeting, what can you look forward to doing over the next couple of months or even a couple of years. Becoming an officer, doing club roles. So the Navigator really supplements any material your club already has for new members. If your club is a little different than other clubs, like a specialty club, or a club that does the evaluation right after the speech instead of waiting until later on, which one of my clubs does, you can encourage the new member to check out the Navigator and then let them know that this is a little bit different, but they still have a good solid background on what they're looking at. When you go to your transcript and you are considering doing a project, one cool thing that Pathways has changed recently is the ability to do all sorts of cool stuff without waiting. You don't have everything locked down by level. So if I'm looking through this and I say, you know, I could really use checking out Focus on Positive because after that holiday season, I'm doomed. I can hit activate and find out what that's about a little bit. And I can go back in. And I can check out my elective projects and not have to wait until the day that I'm finally through level 2. As I mentioned, knowing what is expected for each of these different projects is really helpful. So being able to pull up that website from District 4 is really helpful. It's a shortcut. Or if you're looking at your actual project itself, at the very end, it'll give you a good breakdown. These are your evaluation sheets, and that gives you an idea of exactly, if you haven't read every word, what's expected. And I clicked the wrong button. One challenge that other members had mentioned in the emails that we had is exactly what happens if you realize that you didn't want that path. Because if you sign up for Presentation Mastery, but you really want to learn a little bit more about working in small groups, or you accidentally signed up for a leadership path where you really wanted Presentation Mastery or the humor one, you only have, I think it's 90 days? 30 days? 30 days. So really limited amount of time to reach out to the mothership, Toastmasters International in Colorado. And they have to do that manipulation very quickly. Another challenge, yes, Robert?
They changed that recently, the 90-day day, they changed from 30 to 90, but you can't have completed any of the material in the path. So if you know you don't want the path, don't be like, oh, I did my icebreaker and mark it off as complete, because then the mothership gets cranky.
We don't want a cranky mothership, thank you, Robert.
But you can continue on level 1, but they're all the same.
Well, you can, but then you can't trade it in.
Still level 1.
Yeah. Another option is holding on to that one that you mistakenly picked and just going with the extra $20 for another one. One challenge a lot of members have is, I have no Wi-Fi access, especially in rural areas. I have no computer at home. I hate computers. Well, it's very packed, and Toastmaster like to say it's a growth opportunity, but that's not what we do. We encourage people to try new things. We encourage people, you know, if you're at work, you can convert the stuff to a PDF and it's easily even viewable on your phone. You can print it out at work if your company doesn't mind that type of thing. If you have a printer at home and you can print things out easily and fairly cheaply, you can do that. But the paper option has gotten more flexible. It's not a horrible option. It's a little restricted. It's not as fun as the full path online, but it's definitely better than not any Toastmasters at all. If you have a member who does not want to do the computer, talk with them. Find out where they fall. Do they want to go with that paper one? It's an option. It gives you all those projects. It gives you all sorts of material. Go for it. Has anybody else seen the Pathways paper manuals? Yeah. How do you think it compares? Have you been able to?
I found it a lot easier when I had a whole bunch of stuff going on in my life to have that paper manual as I'm running to appointments and stuff, have that to sit and look at. It's really hard to just read on a smartphone. And I do know several people that don't have a smartphone. They, you know, push buttons and everything.
Yep. And again, Pathways itself is very computer friendly. It's meant to be done on a laptop. And so converting it to a PDF allows you to read it on your smartphone, but you don't have quite the functionality there.
Teresa,
Yes,
it's on.
there you are.
Do we still have the option to get our second path for free by June 30th, 2020?
Teresa? I can answer on, yes, we have until June 30th to do it because I had to call Toastmasters on something else, Pathways related, and I asked that question specifically as well because I had not chosen my second path either.
Thanks, Ed. It's not like it's a lot of money to get an extra path, but as long as it was promised, it's good.
Now, there are some restrictions, because if you were in 2 clubs back when we first got Pathways in February 2 years ago, and you're still in those 2 clubs now, you're eligible for 2 paths. If you were in 2 clubs and one of the clubs died, or you stopped going to that one club, you went to a different club, there's a lot of chances that you are not all eligible. So be aware that there are those restrictions, but get it done early because it's awesome having multiple paths at the same time. You've got a lot more flexibility.
Thanks.
So some of the questions that I heard were a little bit more nebulous and not as specific to the nuts and bolts of Pathways. Obviously, you want to know how to log your meeting roles. It's important to have those meeting roles logged in before you submit your 3rd level. And you go to your Pathways page, click on the Happy Gear thing, go to my account, and you can see that I actually have kept up on some of them, but not all. But they're built. And that's what they're going to look for. So make sure and fill in your meeting rules. It's a great way to encourage people to do those meeting rules. How long does it take to finish a path? Well, it's interesting because apparently there was an article in either the online or the magazine that said, of the completed paths, they were completed on an average of some ridiculously short amount of time.
Oh.
It was like 11 months? 11 months or something? It was ridiculous. It was a very short amount of time to finish 5 levels. And part of that problem was how they determined the population that created that average. Because Pathways just started less than 3 years ago. It has to be less than 36 months. Some districts didn't have it until only 2 years ago. It's probably less than 2 years. So that average, it doesn't always make sense to everybody. The ones that exist, the completed paths, sure, they only took about a year. Because there are people who are focused enough to get these things done. They let their kids starve, they quit their jobs. Pathways, yes! Well, some of us have to take a break and make mac and cheese for the kid. And some of us have full-time jobs. So figure it out for you. How often can you do a speech? How often can you work on a project? If it's once a month, you know that you've got a good baseline. Stay active, stay engaged, try new things, and you will finish your path in a reasonable amount of time. I know some Toastmasters who haven't done speech in over a year. If you are doing 0, your average goes to infinity. It's a little Toastmasters math.
Teresa, it's me again.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a member who was a member of a corporate club, and she retired. And she finished 2 levels with our club, which is new for her. As VPE, when I went in there to submit her award, the corporate club had never submitted any of her previous levels.
Whoa.
So I had to do level 1, 2, 3, 4, all in the same 5 minutes.
Oh, wait. Let me understand you clearly. Your club got an extra 2 awards for free?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. That was a good problem to have. But we called the corporate club, and I spoke to the VPE before I spoke to TI International. And I said, how do you want to manage this? And they were like, she did the work. All of her evaluations were in her e-portfolio. Very organized woman. So she did do the work. But once you go in there and you try to submit, it won't let you go to 5 because first 4 were never done.
Exactly.
But it was all levels in one path. It wasn't like 6 paths. It was just one path we were dealing with. But that was a new challenge for us. We never run into that.
And that actually, it really emphasizes how similar Pathways is to the traditional method. In the traditional way we did things, you'd have that paper book. Your VPE would sign off on all sorts of cool stuff you did. And then either that VPE, or you could take it to your other club and give them the credit. So there's 2 different parts going on. You have the Pathways part, hit that right arrow, give yourself a post-assessment, hit that right arrow, woo! Automatically an email should go out to your Basecamp managers. If it doesn't, email them and ask them why. And then, that Basecamp manager or a different Basecamp manager gets to go to Club Central and submit that award. And hopefully, you'll notice emails coming and going saying, congratulations, you rock, you completed a level. And then, a couple days later, you'll also see that on the, what are you going to be telling us about it?
Success plan.
On the club success charts that they have, thank you, it'll show you that your award counts toward your club. So there are ways of following up on, did you hit enough buttons, or do you have any questions? One other thing I did get a question about is, what do I do with these evaluation forms? Many clubs ask you to print out your evaluation form, they fill it out manually, and they hand it back to you. After that, do not throw them out. Hold on to them. You can scan them in and put them in your e-portfolio, as Yvonne mentioned. Other people can't see it, but it's nice for you if that's how you organize. I keep them on a stack in my dining room, and as I submit levels, I take that little chunk of that stack and I move it to a closet. So I know that this has been submitted. Do not resubmit. That would be bad. So there are different ways of handling your evaluations. Often it's a good idea to reread and see how you changed and developed. Other than that, I did get one question about how do I get my club more involved with Pathways when the challenge is that there's a resistance to change. Well, it's been 2 years. All of the members that you've had in the past, all the new members you've had in the past 2 years are only Pathways. So all those new members have already demonstrated some change. If you have a resistant existing member, there's a good chance that maybe you could just sit down with that existing member and encourage them just like you encourage those new people to figure out what are your goals? Can I help you log in? Can we take a look at some of the options? Existing members also can go for the paper paths. And if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Because we are here to enable each other's goals. And if you're trying to force them to do something they really don't want to do on the computer, that's going to be hard. I did get one question that I hadn't researched. It is, how does the new Fast Track work and what is the cost? And I know I saw something about it. I did not read the whole thing because, I didn't read it. But I will be posting about this on a Facebook page I run. Does anybody have information on the Fast Track? Jesse Franklin, please use the microphone, sir.
Yeah, Teresa, the idea behind the Fast Track is almost if you remember how Speechcraft used to work, except for those who are familiar with Speechcraft. It is a way in which there are 3 projects that you do. There's some videos that are associated with it. you execute the videos and the projects, and the ideal is that it should encourage those people who have not been familiar with Toastmasters to look for a Toastmasters club. It's about, if I remember correctly, like $3.99 or $4 to actually register. You can find that online at the Toastmasters International website.
Excellent, thank you so much. I do have two little things to share before we get going with Ed. If you are on Facebook, there is a Toastmasters Pathways discussion group. And it's kind of awesome. They've got people who've been doing Pathways for almost all of 3 years. They've got senior members. They've got other newbies. You can ask questions about Pathways. If you ask a question about something that isn't Pathways, you might get yelled at, and I might be forced to help somebody delete you, but no, we're not that mean. It's Pathways, though. If you have Pathways questions, we're the place for it. So check that out. It's Pathways Discussion Forum after the Facebook, and you can join, and we will approve you as long as we can see that you either have Toastmaster friends on Facebook or you mention your club frequently in public posts. It's usually not a problem. If you aren't approved quickly, let me know. I'm actually one of the people that helps with it, and I will get you in. And how do you let me know that you're having a problem? Well, my name's Teresa Flynn. That's my email address. If your club needs help or has questions about Pathways, if you as an individual have a question about Pathways, please reach out to me. And I am also the meetup person. So if you are in a public club, you probably have a meetup page that you might not have even known about. So please give me an email and we can work together to improve your educational and membership experience. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great 2020!